Jeez. Testing.
I hear you, Tom.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
Good.
I guess, Melissa, just give that one more enlargement.
Okay.
Give that one more enlargement. Yeah, that's
There you
better.
go.
That's better.
Get your glasses checked, Tom.
I got them on. I better get a stronger pair. Oh, man. Oh.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it has anything to do with glasses.
Yeah.
Oh.
May I make a suggestion that only one recites the Pledge of Allegiance? I don't know if you consider, I think would be a good idea because it's just a cacophony of sounds. Just consider.
I like that new look, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, in fact, Sandy, you should call them. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Mr. McCarthy. Hi there, stranger.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing well, but, you know, I feel like weird because I don't get to see all my boys like you and Bruner and Darren all to have an adult beverage. It's been like 7 months.
I know.
See, I haven't been over to Berkshire since before Christmas. You know what? The last night I was at Berkshire was Schultenhaver's retirement, or not retirement party, but his going away party.
Right.
Because it's just normally I stop over to see have a drink or something once a week, but very weird.
Times they are changing.
Yep. You've been playing it all.
Yeah, I was out the other week.
Okay, it's 2 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the June 9th meeting of Borough Council scheduled for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There was an executive session before this afternoon's meeting to discuss personnel issues. We will start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. If people would like to remain silent, I will say the pledge.
Go ahead, Tom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Michelle, roll call, please. Or Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Here.
Councilmember Woodward,
Here.
Councilmember Brunner,
Here.
Councilmember Jenks,
Here.
Councilmember Menon, Councilmember Durr,
Here.
and Council President Mull.
There's Jody.
I'm here. I was on mute by accident, but I'm back.
Okay.
Here we go. Public comments.
I have public comment.
And who do we have?
My name is Eric Esterbrook.
Okay, go ahead, Eric.
Okay, hi. Eric Esterbrook. I am obviously a Wyomissing resident. I'm a pharmacist. I own 3 pharmacies in the area, and I just wanted to speak briefly on that in favor of opening the pool. And I mentioned my business because during this whole COVID quarantine, my pharmacy remained open. We filled prescriptions for COVID positive customers. However, we had a lot of safeguards and procedures in place, and I have 43 employees, and not one of my employees was sick or missed a day. So I just wanted to say that the procedures, if they're followed, work. I also wanted to share briefly, I had a conversation with Charles Barbera, who was a rec board member for 20 years, and he is not able to attend the meeting today. So with his permission, he asked me to read a personal statement from him. It's an email that he sent. So I'd just like an opportunity to read that briefly. Gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to share some thoughts with you about the opening of the pool this season. Every year we strive to make the pool experience better for our residents and safer for our members. This year provides a unique opportunity to keep our residents safe while allowing them to take advantage of one of the finest resources we have in Wyomissing. Opening the pool this year is a necessity. The community needs to be together, and the pool with its vast area clearly is an ideal place to socially distance. It can be done responsibly. Our staff has the opportunity to develop guidelines and processes and implement them. Limiting attendance, visitors, food, and diligent maintenance will make the pool as safe as anywhere else this summer. Not opening the pool will drive our children to the creek, or even worse, the creek or river. Every year we see unfortunate situations where children swim unsupervised in uncontrolled environments such as the river and Blue Marsh. It is much safer to have our community residents enjoy the summer with friends and neighbors responsibly. And that was all I wanted to say. So thank you for the time.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a public comment.
Go ahead. Please identify yourself.
My name is Kate Fanning, and I am your pool manager for the Borough of Wyomissing. And good afternoon. A little bit about me. I've been a swimmer my whole life. I've been managing, coaching, been around pools, know how they operate. I know I've been officiating. All of these events have played a valuable part in my life. I'm an adult who was a teacher. And I know the grounds, I know the maintenance. I want you to know that this year, we can make this happen at the pool. I believe in my staff with Rob Lewis at the helm, that the staff is capable of doing what needs to be done. I feel that it can speak to patrons in a respectful way and the rules can be followed. The leadership is there. The guards are contacting me all of the time. They are ready to work. If we decide to open the pool, they want to come and do whatever is necessary to help the borough get that done. An example I give to you is last summer when the pool was filled with mud, those guards were there immediately cleaning up the debris line and working very hard. When the pool was being filled and we were waiting for that to happen, they took the initiative with a little help from me to paint the inside of the bathhouse. They are a hardworking group, and so am I. And I believe that we can make this happen. I believe that we can do this and we can do it well. It's going to look very different. I am in constant contact with other pool managers, in particular Lincoln Park's pool manager, and we've talked about his zones and the zones that I would create by using the swim team lane lines and a rope system going perpendicular from those lane lines, how many zones we could have, an entry into the pool, an exit area of the pool, no diving well, no slide, an entrance into the pool, and how we're going to do temperature checks, and a way out of the pool, very much like a beach tag person at the beach would be at the gate watching people leave so other people didn't come in. I have the parameters in mind. I have ideas, and I am ready to work hard for this borough. I welcome any questions.
May I go next, please?
Go ahead. Please identify yourself.
I am Adrian Jadick, and I'm speaking on behalf of our family, actually, and also my wife's, Dr. Roxandra Jadick. So we have a picture here. Thank you, Melissa. I'm addressing the council today regarding allegations of some questionable statements by our police. It has come to our attention that our neighbors, Mr. Cullen and Mrs. De Niro, posting on their respective Facebook accounts peeping photographs and videos of our daily personal life, some of which include Zoom shots through the windows of our home. When contacted by our attorney, the Cullens stated in no uncertain terms that the local police have told them to install the camera in such way. They made this statement on 2 separate occasions and through their own attorney. Why would our local police be interested in monitoring our private life inside and around our home? From what we can tell, the Cullens have always had cameras pointed at their immigrant neighbors, including Dr. Tillage and Mr. Krutuyarski and their daughters. They do not point the cameras at their American neighbors. Recently, they purchased and installed an ultra-high definition UHD camera, also known as a 4K resolution, which some of you may be familiar with powerful zoom capabilities, which based on their Facebook posts, they use on a daily basis to monitor every aspect of our activity, even such mundane tasks as laying mulch on flower beds. Here's a sample shot provided through their attorney. There's nothing happening in this shot. It just shows you that the orientation of the camera is square at our home, leaving large areas of their own property uncovered, like more than 10 feet wide strip along the base of their home, the front door and the porch, 15 to 20 feet wide strips along the sides of the property. No security-minded individual would post publicly, because these were public posts, not just to their friends, shots and videos from his security camera simply because he would divulge the shortcomings and blind spots to any anonymous visitor of his Facebook page. A burglar could easily use these shots to avoid detection. Obviously, this expensive, because these are expensive cameras. Super high-powered camera was not intended to provide security, but as a stalking and harassing device. We can move to number 2, Melissa. Thank you. The Facebook post's content and frequency shows that the camera is indeed used for stalking and zooming into our windows. The resulting footage, pictures are the basis of malicious and harassing posts, liked and encouraged by a plethora of close friends. The picture that you see was entitled, "Where is Waldo?" indicating that the Cullens know they had an audience interested in this type of stalking. Next picture, Melissa, please. To the right on the next, right there. To the right of this picture, you see the window for our gym, which right now in this picture has the windows, the curtain shut. My wife exercises every morning with the window open and the curtain pulled in gym clothes, which are pretty summery. This shot also demonstrates that, which is a known fact in security system, that the privacy screens, which you saw in actually the first picture, if you paid attention, can be removed with a mouse click. So there is no privacy screen here, protecting the window. He can just go and he can go back. The camera is recording 24 hours a day. He can go back and see when the window was open and so on. Also posted were references to threatening violent acts that a Facebook follower of the Collins and Mr. Cullen have obviously previously discussed. Quote, just let me know when you will green light my proposed method of dealing with this asshole. The Facebook posts have been since taken down or made private. However, the camera was kept in same orientation as the Collins insisted that they just follow the instructions of the local police. So the question that bears to be asked is why and who in our local police department is interested in such details of our private life? There is no legitimate reason the police would advise the Collins to infringe in our privacy to such extent. These developments are consistent with previous indication of close cooperation between our police and the Collins. Based on various right-to-know requests, no official communication shows a recommendation to install a camera pointed at our property, let alone at our windows. Therefore, the communication must have been made through private calls and conversations. For years, the police has shown favoritism towards the Collins by not pressing charges in various instances like keying our vehicle, harassment with a laser beam, trespassing, assault, or the trash can harassment despite overwhelming evidence and witnessing. In the same time, the police together with the borough official have shown a systemic discrimination, bigotry and xenophobic hostility against immigrant families neighboring the Collins. We ask for an independent investigation into police abuse. Respectfully submitted, Adrian and Roxandra Jady. Thank you, I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay, Gregory Krotoyarsky, 41 Cardinal Road. Unfortunately, the neighbor of the same family of John Cullen and Susan Denara. This is what they are doing now with us. Several times they were asked not to bring their vehicles and trash to our driveway, but in just next day after previous council meeting, they brought their trash can to our driveway, knowing we have a new driver, knowing we have problem navigating this very complex environment. I called the police didn't come. Please, next page. So you can see from here, his vehicle is here, his trash can is here, and the last picture shows here how he acts with my trash can. He moves it as close as possible to my driveway, using his force, his sheer force, and smashing the can against the pavement. This is what he is doing, coming to us. And you love him, please continue loving him. Tensions here are boiling. I ask you to think about it. Please, next page. So this is the other problem we are having here. This is the same corner where you refused to remove the tree, where you refused to put the traffic mirror. We have a problem here. Vehicles are being parked at this corner. It takes half of the width of the street, and you can see nothing around it. We urge you to put no parking zone here. If you want to save a couple bucks, take the no parking zone signs that you installed for Cullens and put it here. Please, next page. other situations, you see, you cannot park your vehicle at the, you cannot stop at the stop sign. You cannot see it, even with the strips you installed. You cannot access this place because there are vehicles parked, and it is week after week. I understand the vehicles need to be parked, but there are other stretches of the street to park them. And having no parking zone here will help. Please, next one. So this is the proposed no parking zone. It's not for our property, it's not for our benefit, it's not for protection from Cullen's assault. It's only for everybody driving along this street, this road, to be able to stop at the stop sign and not being hit by the oncoming vehicle. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else under public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed into our regular business meeting. May I have a motion to receive all committee reports? Can I be heard?
You cut out, Tom.
I need a motion to receive all committee reports.
So moved.
And second,
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please have it. Consulting engineers report. For the first of all is the council minutes from May 12th of 2020, and also a petition addendum to those council reports.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Consulting engineers report, Jim McCarthy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Couple things have happened. Obviously, as you saw, we had the 4th Street bid opening occurred. In our report, we were recommending awarding that today, but we'd like to take that to infrastructure and discuss that and a few other things next Monday. And with the PennDOT permit not being issued, it's not going to negatively affect any time. So I'd like to just table that till infrastructure, and then that be on council's July agenda, if that's all right with everyone.
Yep.
Okay. Just a couple subdivision and land development plans, which we'll go over in the planning commission. The one thing we have on Green Light Go, apparently as part of this COVID reduced funding, that has no funding for the Green Light Go projects. So what we've done, Pat and Jim and Michelle and I talked earlier, we have had traffic planning and design hold where they are on their work so far for the 2018-2019 Green Light Go project. And we should probably have council officially put that on hold indefinitely until PennDOT would have funding available for that again. Because we have submitted, Phyllis has submitted the paperwork for the reimbursement for what has been spent to date through last month, and for their final invoice to date. So probably take action on that today.
I'll make a motion for that.
Okay,
Put it on hold.
yeah, we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have it.
Then just a quick update on the storm flooding report. We do have an estimate now for the pipe replacement or the pipe relining, which was $1.2 million for the large arch pipe. We still have not gotten any information from FEMA. What we have done, we actually put a second request in, which exactly matched the first request that we did last fall. And then 2011 Lincoln Avenue had that berm failure where we had drafted a notice of violation, and we're holding that due to the COVID. I was contacted by the property owner and her contractor, and they've asked to come to infrastructure and talk about it. So we're gonna hold off on that NOV and hear what they have to say next Monday. And that's all I have, unless the council has anything else for me.
Any questions for Mr. McCarthy?
I have one, Jim. Hey, so I see I don't know if you're going to leave or stay for the whole meeting, but I see the payments to you guys have been huge, predominantly related to the medical school. Do you have a full-time person there or what?
I'm sorry, John, what did you say? What to do with the medical school?
With the, do you have a full-time person there at all times overseeing what's going on at the medical school?
No.
Okay.
No, but if the cost at the Equus portion of the 4th Street design, from billing standpoint, is billed to DUCOM.
Gotcha.
If that's where you were looking at it, like the expenditures of that's all of the traffic planning and design work with PennDOT permitting, and all of our work with the non-PennDOT roads, and all the bidding is billed to DUCOM at the request of Equus.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I had it on my list too, just to ask you about it, because I saw it was like 58,000 or something.
Yeah, because all the bidding and everything the last month. So far, I think the total project to date was 229,000. That was all the TPD's work and our work, and to do with the permitting to date and all of the right-of-way plans, as well as the design plans and bid documents.
So when they pay that back, does that just come back right to the borough then? Is that?
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah.
They write that. Phyllis bills them monthly, and then they reimburse that out of their, either write a check or it comes out of their escrow. I'm not sure which way Phyllis is doing that.
They write a
Okay.
check.
What is it?
They write a check. It's not coming out of escrow.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. That's good.
Yeah, that was part of that initially where they had agreed to fund the soft costs up front. And I think the estimate back then we thought was going to be around 200,000. So it's roughly right where, it's within 20,000 of where we estimated.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the engineer? All those in favor of accepting his report as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Police chiefs and mayor's report.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to ask the chief to pick things up, but I'd like to comment that in light of national events and some local demonstrations, I wanted to update everybody. We've had a couple of protest marches that initiated in the city and came up through West Reading on Penn Avenue and into the borough and then back again. We had our folks out in traffic control working together with the West Reading officers, and we were supplemented by some Spring Township folks, so we appreciate their help and cooperation. Everything went smoothly. Our job was mainly traffic control. I think we've shown that these things can be done professionally and safely. One of our officers, Darren Anders has, I thought, a good initiative in suggesting and then providing some bottled water that was shared between our folks and the protesters. That ended up in a picture in the newspaper, which I think speaks a lot to the community about how we're doing things. So it all went well, and we trust it will continue to do so without any reports of any of problems. I also spoke at length with Chief Beal and Lieutenant Endy about how we are prepared to do these things on behalf of the community. That ended up with the chief putting out a memo to all of us yesterday. I hope you all had a chance to look at that rather than hit you with it now and not be able to properly ask questions if you have any. So I thought he did a nice synopsis of the training and preparation, and thought that that we've given things, and I feel very confident that we're doing things properly and doing them well. So Chief, if you could pick it up there.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Hopefully you got a chance to look at that little blurb I put out rather than delay the meeting any longer with me being long-winded. That being said, I want to thank Mr. Durr for your kind response to that also. We're doing what we can. This is all new territory for us between the pandemic and what's going on nationwide. And really, you know, we're learning as we go. So hopefully we stay the course and continue to do things correctly as we've been doing. I'm open to any questions or comments anytime. Just pick up the phone, give me a call, and we can discuss things, or I'd say pop on in, but that's against the COVID rules.
I just have one.
Itself,
oh, go
sure.
ahead. Well, I just
No,
had
go
one
ahead.
question. Yeah. The question deals with, I'm going to call it, I guess, mob or crowd control here and our training for that kind of thing. I mean, as everyone else has, although I must say these days I turn it off faster than I turn it on, the news with some of that. I did watch, you know, and I've seen pictures and all that business of police, you know, in a straight line and moving people back and all that kind of stuff and wearing certain gear. Do our guys, I mean, I don't know what kind of training they have with that kind of stuff, like formal training, or do you guys have like a, you know, I don't know, session in-house or in-service training of some kind for that kind of stuff, saying here it comes and don't forget, you know, wear your helmet kind of thing, or what happens there?
Well, we do it on the fly as we go. We have probably, I can't give you an exact number of guys that have that type of training. I know I was one of them.
Yeah.
However, you know, we have the equipment. There's no way we have the manpower, and that's where the problem's going to come into play. The manpower is definitely lacking all over the place, and that's why we have. We did certain things for these protests, and they were peaceful, and that's what we like. And like I said, I'd be able to talk to you in private on some of the things we've done. But yeah, we also depend a lot on having B-cert standby, things like that.
So you have like, if you know one of these things is coming, you have like a little session ahead of time to kind of review stuff or something, you know? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we try to be as prepared as we can. We look ahead to see what's coming down the pike. The one this past Sunday kind of took us by surprise because they were not supposed to come over the bridge, and they did, and we had to scramble. But knowing that we may have to scramble, we were kind of quasi prepared for the one on Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
As far as the report itself goes, everything's self-explanatory there. Answer any questions you have, and just on a side note, to show you how you know things occur. Back in September, we had a stolen credit card that was used to purchase 2 iPads. By its lonesome, that doesn't, you know, okay. They bought 2 iPads with a stolen credit card. We never found out, you know, who bought it or anything like that. However, in May, those 2 iPads were activated. In order to activate them, you have to enter the serial numbers, model numbers, so forth and so on. Those serial numbers were entered in Moscow and someplace in the Ukraine. That goes to show you where these things go. Somebody found a market overseas, sold these stolen laptops, and they were finally activated in May overseas.
Do they shut them off then, or what do they do?
No, they're in another country now. We're not getting any cooperation from anybody there, that's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how there's a market for this stuff overseas.
No, Chief, the CIs cannot go there to investigate.
All right, you read. You were reading my mind, and I go, Paul Bauer wanted to know if he could go. I said, I don't think so. But yeah, but any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them or attempt to.
Any other questions for the chief or the mayor? All those in favor of accepting his report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Fire department report, Bill?
Okay, for the month of May, the fire department responded to a total of 118 calls for service. 72 of those calls were within the borough and 46 were outside of the borough, resulting in $3,600 in fire damage. So average of 5.5 personnel responded to each call, and year-to-date total is 577 calls within the borough. That's all I have.
The apparatus is coming soon?
I was going to cover that in F&P.
All right, sorry.
All those, question for that on this report? All those accepting the fire report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Committee reports, infrastructure report, Tom?
Okay, I'm going to turn my page here. Okay, most of it is self-explanatory. However, on page 2, or I guess the second page there, Melissa, the water system. Yep. So when you got, can you give me one more click? Yep. Thank you. The under the water system there, with the discussion we had about the water rates from PA American, and we had excuse me, we had some discussion with Mary Reardon online there, and we certainly covered, I think, boy, all the items that needed to be covered in terms of that. And there was a motion made, or there was a recommendation made, I should say, to council to approve a letter to send to the Public Utilities Commission on behalf of the Hills residents who have the PA American Water system, and any borough-owned facilities that use that service over there, stating that the extensive rate increase that they were proposing should be reviewed and hopefully reduced, if not eliminated. And that letter should, I guess, I don't know if it went out already or not, but we're recommending that that letter be sent to that group. The rest there, I know Jody was interested as much as anyone about what was going on there, and that really there had to be some educating, I think, in terms of the PA American and their stance of, not their stance, but I guess their position as the water service provider over in that area of the borough. And I don't know, there was a note in there too about Jim making another check on whether PA American was interested in even discussing the water system over there or not. Jim, was there anything else from that? Is he still there?
Tom, this is Pat.
Okay.
We have prepared a letter for the Public Utilities Commission. I'm
Okay.
not sure if Melissa has that to put up there for you to take a look at. Also, Jim McCarthy is preparing a letter to send to Pennsylvania American Water to check on their interest of whether they want to sell their water system. That has not been sent yet. We'll be discussing that and finalizing that on a Zoom call tomorrow.
Okay, and so I guess I'll make the motion about recommending that we send both of those letters. I'll make that a motion, Tom.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Have it.
Okay, and I don't know, are there any other questions anyone has who was, I don't know if I think we were all at that meeting, or almost everyone was. If anyone has any other questions. I don't think
Tom,
anything. Go ahead.
Tom, I think you need a motion about the execution of the application and signing of the Mylar for Pennsylvania American Water.
Yeah, I'm not,
Okay.
I'm moving down to that right now. Yeah, the Mylar.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. State Hill Road and Vista Road. Revised plans received from PA American to do some utility work on the PennDOT right away there. And a motion was made and approved and recommend the council authorize execution of that application and signing of the Mylar plans for the PA American Water. Is that correct? State utility project at State Hill Road and Vista Road. And I'll make that motion.
I have a question on that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is this, are they going to do this project at the same time that PennDOT's going to do some work on State Hill, or is this going to be done in conjunction with that?
I think they'll be done differently, Bill, because my understanding is that they're going to be moving forward on this work, and I think that State Hill Road has been punted further down the road due to the funding issues.
Okay. I just didn't want to see it, everyone inconvenienced,
twice. Yeah.
Twice over it. So, okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then I have down at the Verizon Wireless Communication, the committee was looking to authorize Michelle and Chris Hartman to work on the changes to the proposed Verizon Communication Facility Agreement and the changes to that. Everyone was in favor. And I guess, I don't know, Chris, is that all done, or Michelle, is that completed? We don't need a motion for that, I don't think. Or do
Chris
we?
and I are still working on that.
Okay, so progress. It's not done yet. Okay.
No, and it'll still be on the infrastructure agenda for Monday.
Okay, all right.
Tom, you got to back up to the
What did I miss?
The American PA American thing.
Yeah.
You made a motion. We
we didn't vote on it.
Oh.
Sorry, I thought we did. All right. I skipped ahead too fast there.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now move along.
All right, sorry about that.
All right.
Okay, and then the last thing under other, there was some discussion and approval for some work at the Stone House, and some cost may be involved with some stained concrete block, and not that we didn't have to do anything with the stones, but for out along the old Wyomissing Road. But I want to tell you, we went down, it was Pat, Jim Babb, myself, and Tom Mull, went down to look at both of those projects, and we kind of changed things a little here. I think we're going to table doing anything with those blocks until the Stone House review, or that, what did we have there? We took a contract for looking at things to change there at the Stone House. And we decided to put that on hold because that could be part of it rather than just spend money that may or may not be needed. And the rocks out along near Roos Bridge, we also put that on hold, or at least we didn't want 2 triaxle loads of boulders laying out there along the road with no permit and not really any kind of other than dumping them in the creek right there. We all kind of looked at that and said, really? I mean, we could use a couple there maybe to fill in some holes, but we didn't think we needed 2 triaxle loads of boulders there. So that was kind of put on the hold too. and we'll take a look at that, I guess, a little later as well. And that was all, unless anybody has any other questions or comments from the report.
Anything else for infrastructure?
That's it, Tom.
If not, anything, all those in favor of accepting that report, saying aye.
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 Let's have it. Personnel Committee. Tom?
All right, first, personnel, yeah. We, last month we met, and really the only discussions were held in an executive session about personnel matters again. And that came to an end at, it says there 9:46, and the meeting was adjourned without anything else at this time for public consumption.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting that report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's have it. Fire and Police Committee, Bill.
Okay, Fire and Police Committee met on May 26th, and under the fire department, just to bring everybody up to date on the new ladder truck. It has been Pierce Manufacturing has replaced the fly section that was damaged. The truck has been delivered to Glick, and for what I've understood, and that there'll be some equipment installed there. All pre-delivery functions will be conducted at Glick, and then the truck will be delivered to us beginning of July for 3 days of personnel training before placing it in service. Pat, you have anything in addition to that? Pat?
No, nothing in addition, Bill, other than there's been a couple possible date changes. The truck, like you said, is at Glick. They're going to bring it up here at some point in time, mid-June now, do the training, then take it back for equipment mounting, which will allow the tags and registration to be transferred, and then the borough will insure it. The truck hasn't been officially accepted yet, but it is here, and it will be coming up for training mid-June.
Great. If anybody, I just happened to come across this on Facebook, if anyone would like to see a few pictures of it, if you go online to Wyomissing Fire Department through Facebook, you'll be able to see a few pictures of it. And that's all I have for the fire department. Western Berks Ambulance reported there were a total of 172 calls for service for the month. They were unable to extrapolate the calls between general calls versus calls for service at the Highlands and the Meadows. Under the police department, Chief Beal received a request for a handicap parking space at 1414 Garfield Avenue. And the committee has voted to bring this before council and also make that motion.
Can I interrupt you there, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a dead issue at this point. I have not received a completed application back at all. So what I plan on doing is we'll revisit it at Fire and Police again at the end of this month.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Okay. Chief Beal also noted received some complaints of excessive speeding in the 1800 block of Reading Boulevard, and the police department has installed speed counters, and we'll see how what the results of those are. Let's see. And the only real other thing is Chief Beal reported that he was pleased to announce that Sergeant Purcell has completed that very intense police staff and command course from Northwestern University. And he should be congratulated for that.
I will pass that along. Also there, we got the green light today to work with the officers and their vacations due to the virus hindering that.
Okay, yes, I did see that. I didn't know whether that should come up now or. Okay, great. And so you're going to implement that immediately?
Yeah, we put it out there, then now it's just to see who would take advantage of it, but it gives us that option so that we're not all vying for the same time at the end of the last quarter of the year.
Right, right. Okay, thank you. And,
Thank you.
And as of now, it was reported by both, fire, EMS, and police that we currently have adequate supplies of personal protective equipment for COVID. So, and that's all I have.
Any questions for the Fire and Police Committee? All those move to accept that report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Planning Commission. John.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you. Can we take all these at once?
That for the storage world, John.
All the waivers, can we take them all at once? There's 7 of them, or do I have to do them individually?
Chris?
I'm showing him as muted.
I apologize for that. I did hear your question, John, and the answer is yes, you may take all the waivers in one motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the Planning Commission had a lengthy meeting about things we've been talking about for a long time, but there are some waivers that were requested, 7 of them to the best of my knowledge, and I'd like to make a motion that we grant all the waivers unless somebody from council wants to pull 1 or more of them out. I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any question on this motion? All those in favor of taking all 7 of these at one shot, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Proceed, John.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Get up to the next. Okay, the next item on the agenda was 200 Park Road condominium.
Hang on, John, back up. The waivers have now been acted on by council, but we still need a motion for conditional plan approval for Storage World.
So moved.
Second. We have a second. Question on that motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, John.
Okay, now we're talking about 200 Park Road where Stratix wants to move.
Okay.
Get with you. Okay. There are a couple of, okay, here we go. I'll just do these individually. I make a motion to recommend council grant Stratix the waiver from Saldo for architectural scale requirements.
We have a second on that.
Second.
Any question on that motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Proceed, John.
Okay, so the waiver requested by the Planning Commission, the need for a motion to recommend approval to council for the waiver was overlooked. I so move that we make that motion.
Yeah, and that's on the curb and sidewalk repairs and replacement.
And where is that for?
That's the,
Along Park Road.
Oh, okay.
200 Park Road.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
We have a second. Any question on that motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes, got it. All right, John.
Okay, I presume as we did in the storage world, I'd like to recommend council grant conditional plan final approval, subject to all comments in McCarthy Engineering's June 1st, 2020 review letter being it. So move.
Second.
Any question on that motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Go ahead, John.
Next, we move on to the Highlands, and every minute self-explanatory to the best of my, thoughts. But I move that we submitted an amended NPDES permit no later than December 31st, 2021 to include the installation of sidewalk along Cambridge Avenue and allow the sidewalks to be installed by the spring of 2022. I so move.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second.
I just have a question there. Is that just, where does that go from where to where for that sidewalk? Just on their property or what?
Well,
Yes.
the width of their frontage on Cambridge.
So that would be like from their, like the Lincoln Park line there, Spring Township down to Logan?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then
About
that,
1,500 square feet, Tom. Linear feet.
Right.
say it again, I couldn't hear you, got cut out.
It's about 1,500 linear feet.
Oh, okay, 1,500 linear feet, okay. And that's all, and is that because they have to do that, or what's the purpose there?
Our ordinance requires any subdivision or land development coming through approval to put the required curbs and sidewalks along their frontage of all public streets.
It will require the borough to do so as well, and I have.
No, it won't. It won't require it. Their land development sidewalk does not encumber the borough to do anything. That would be a council decision if you decide to extend sidewalk further.
Misunderstood that. Thanks, Jim.
So when you say further, like what? Further up the hill back toward
Parking lot, towards where
There
the
was some-
buses park for Flannery Field.
Right. There was some discussion about that extending to there, but that would be up to the borough council if you wanted to do that at some point in the future or not some point in the future.
Well, I think we decided on, because we were talking about connecting the park trail and so forth, and I think that was, put on hold pending this sidewalk issue.
Right.
So does curb have to be included with that?
Typically, you want curb where there's sidewalk, so you have proper separation between a vehicle and a pedestrian walking.
Right.
And there's already existing curb there.
Yes.
There is? No. I'm talking from Logan back toward the bus parking thing.
Well, that's not up for discussion today.
Oh, but that's the one where you're saying that could come up later. Is that right?
Council would have to decide that they wanted to extend the sidewalk from where the Highlands stopped with either sidewalk and curb or a path or tied into the walking trails. It seemed to go sideways at the planning commission with a bunch of discussions about what if the north side of the road was done and what if it extended to the east. But the question at hand today is simply curb along the frontage of the Highlands as part of their land. I'm sorry, sidewalk along the front of the Highlands as part of their land development plan.
Okay, so we're not obligated to finish the rest all the way down to the bus thing, right?
No, your ordinance requires this so that in the areas where you don't have curb and sidewalk, it gets put in as the properties do improvements, is the thought process behind it. And then later, at some point, the municipality, in this case the borough, can decide, hey, we want to provide, we want to close up the gaps and complete it. But you're not under an obligation to do so.
So people can walk down from Lincoln Park there, down to the bottom of the hill and cut over to Logan, or walk the trail that we have there, the stone stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
So what we have a plan for a master plan for, multimodal stuff, and it doesn't have to be done by the borough immediately, but in my opinion, we should stick to the plan. So.
Is
anyway.
that both sides of the street then, or just the one side?
For the plan, I mean.
Your plan doesn't get that specific.
Okay, I'm just curious because I didn't know if it was going to be, but it would stay right now on that one side. Okay, I'm just curious. I didn't know.
Yeah, your plan talks about providing walkable and bicycle and safe bicycle links throughout the borough public road network. And then again, that's, when you go to do those links, that's a decision of council, if you want to do both sides of every street. In some areas you might only want to do one side for safety reasons or environmental reasons or cost reasons.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if it was tied in with all that bicycle stuff or anything. Okay.
No, well, the bicycles technically aren't allowed to ride on sidewalk, and people shouldn't be walking out in the road, so they should be separated to be safe.
No. I know. I didn't think they were supposed to ride the bicycle there, but that's okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Last item here. I move that we recommend council grant conditional final plan approval subject to the recommendations or the comments in McCarthy Engineering's May 18th, 2020 review letter. I so move.
Okay, we have a second on that.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please have it.
All I got, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you on behalf of the Highlands. Have a good day.
Finance and Administration, Steve.
Okay. Finance and Admin met on June 4th. Give you some highlights. I know you have most of the information in front of you. I will tell you that we were obviously very closely monitoring the tax situation with the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic, excuse me. And our taxes at the end of the discount period were lower than they were in the past, but it wasn't as a significant blow as we thought it may be. And we do know that the taxes can be paid without penalty. That extension, I believe, was 2 months, if I'm not incorrect on that. So there may be some people taking advantage of time and submitting their taxes a little bit later. There was one obvious situation where one tax that we're significantly behind, and that's the mercantile tax. And I'm losing a number, but if I remember correctly, it's $695,000 that were different from year to year. That all being said, one thing that we have asked Phyllis to do is to give us a year-to-date and, well, excuse me, give us a projection and a forecast, if you will, on both revenue and expenses moving forward through the calendar year of 2020. It's such an odd year, and we have taken almost, or a significant amount, almost all of the infrastructure projects off the boards when we didn't know what exactly was going to happen, when the discount period was going to be applied and all that other good stuff. Now that we have a little bit of a clearer picture, we have asked her to give us a forecast, because what we may find is there may be a situation where we are doing better than we thought, not great, but better than we thought financially, where we may be able to put some of those infrastructure projects back on the books. And maybe, depending on the state of affairs out with the economy, maybe we'll be able to get them at a better discount. So we have asked her to prepare that. I assume that, I have not spoken to her since, but I assume we will have that for our next finance committee meeting, which will then also be there. So the finance committee, one thing we will do, or one thing that I'm going to do now, is ask the infrastructure committee to maybe prioritize, if and when we have some money that we're able to spend, what projects would we put back on the books to try to get done within the calendar year of 2020. So Tom, that's one of the things I think we need to discuss at infrastructure committee meeting next week.
All right, can we have, I don't know if Jim can get, I don't know, a list together.
Already on the agenda, Tom.
That's already on the agenda.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if he had, okay, that's good.
Yeah, Jim and I talked briefly about it the other day, but
Okay.
so we're prepared to talk about it on Monday.
All right, okay, Steve?
Okay. So the only the only thing we have to bring before council is, and before I do this, it was regarding the pension contribution. But before we do that, I'd like to bring everybody up to date. Last year when we had and I'm trying to change screen, so I apologize. Last year, at the end of 2018, for the first time then since I've been around, and I think a lot of people have been around, our funding ratios with the Borough of Wyomissing and the pensions actually got a distress level of 1, which isn't horrible, but it isn't 0 either. And we had a distress level of 81.8%. If everybody remembers what happened in December of 2000, at the end of the calendar year of 18, the November went haywire on us. Excuse me, December went haywire on us, and it was really a picture in time, but it wasn't really reflective of where we were almost a whole year prior to that. It just came into play. So we did have we had a ratio. We asked them to give us a ratio of where we stand now, and our distress level effective for 12/31/19 is back to 0. And our funding ratios are in excess of 90%. So I think that's good for everybody to understand. Prior to the next motion, which, let me go back to the next page, is that the Finance Committee is making a recommendation to Council for payment of the budgeted second quarter pension contribution in the amount of $212,249.75. And I will make that motion.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it.
One last comment on that. We had been making excess contributions. So far, we have decided not to make any excess contributions. And based on that information we got for 12/31/19, not sure we're going to have to make any excess contributions in the calendar year of 2020. That all being said, that's really it for the Finance Committee. Anybody have any questions?
All those in favor of accepting the Finance Committee's report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Rec Board, Steve.
Okay, the Rec Board met with some obvious issues we had to deal with and have to deal with in a timely manner. So we met yesterday and had some significant discussion. That all being said, the first thing I'd like to do is thank those who, and I was not one of them, thank those who participated and were able to at least do something for a service on Memorial Day. I think it's great that the borough did that. Thank you to the borough. Thank you to President Mole for helping. And if I forgot somebody, I apologize. And of course, Randy Widener, who helped put all that together on the Rec Board. That all being said, we discussed obviously the pool, the playground, the tennis courts, and the softball and soccer facilities yesterday at the Rec Board meeting. And that being said, the Rec Board, and I'll take this one at a time, the Rec Board has made a recommendation to Borough Council to open the swimming pool to the 2020 season. And I will say that I will make that motion based on certain parameters, and those parameters would be that the borough is in a green zone as determined by the governor in the state of Pennsylvania, that the pool can operate under the state and the CDC guidelines. All who enter the pool must sign a solicitor-approved COVID-19 waiver or have a previously signed waiver on file, and that the pool can obviously be adequately staffed, and obviously that the pool will be in working shape. So I will make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, do we have any question on the motion?
Well, I guess we'll, do we want to, are there public comment, or is there anybody here that, from the public, Steve, that you know is, wants to?
I think some people have talked. I think some people, I'm not sure.
Okay. Is there anyone there, Melissa?
Hello, as pool manager, I've spoken.
Okay. Okay.
If you have any questions about plans that I have made or research that I've done, I'd be willing to answer them.
Kate, yes, I have a question for you. How many people additional would you need on your staff to pull this off?
That's a great question. I'm ask Rob. Rob, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't think that we would need additional people, but I do know that there may be attendance, so to speak, for the bathroom. My idea outside the box was, if we're not going to have playground and we need these young people to have some playground hours, they could be the help with monitoring at the gate or monitoring at the bathroom. So I think we have enough personnel to pull this together and make this happen. And I think we can also pull in some resources that we may not be able to run playground. We can use some of those resources as well.
I understand that we have a great playground staff and they're wonderful with the children. We're not talking about police and children here. We're talking about something that's a hell of a lot more serious. And I have concerns if these people would be able to be trained, you know, to follow the guidelines and not waver from them.
Yes, that's where I come in, and I make sure that they have what they need to do that. They have the language and they have the support from me, and they will be trained, and I will be there.
And if you're not there, then who's in charge?
Then I have one assistant manager currently who is by far one of the most responsible young people that I've ever met with, never worked with. Her name is London Whitmer. She's been an employee for a long time. I will say on her behalf that I could not have done the job last year without her with me. She is remarkably mature for her age and no nonsense human being, and I feel very confident that she would be able to fill in if I were not present.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, also we have a desk person, we have a manager of the desk who is also an adult, who is a member of the community, who is no nonsense. So we can make sure that one of us is there. We can make our schedules work that way.
Hey, this is Steve. I do have one question, and I don't know if you mentioned it and I forget in the public portion, public comment portion. Can you describe your plan and zones and all that other good stuff that you had for you?
Sure. Yes, I can. I believe that we could have 6 active zones at the Wyomissing pool, closing the diving well and closing the slide. We have lane lines from the swim team going down the 50 meters portion of the pool. And my plan is to put either 1 lane line every 2 lanes or 1 lane line every 1, depending on how we finalize those decisions, and then taking the benches that are there, which are very heavy, and the yellow rope that we use to mark and sort of grid the pool. And each 6 active zones with 25 people in them is approximately 150 people, 175 Rob may have the numbers with him now, I'm not sure, but we can tell you when our numbers are high, what time of day, what day of the month, if we even get to the maximum capacity. We use the benches to hold the rope. I've done it at swim meets. I've done it for our invitational. We just grid it out. Make a grid, like an actual grid.
Kate, can I ask you a question? What is the plan for the cleaning and the sanitizing? Does that fall on the younger staff, or are we having maintenance people there, or what's the deal? I'm not.
So my idea of creating one entry point into the pool is over by the slide. So if you can imagine the pool, and the slide is closed, but there is an entry point of the slide. And people come into the pool that way, and they come out of the pool from only one other ladder or one other place. So that limits the cleaning of that entrance and that exit. Each guard station, each guard chair will also have cleaning equipment, so that, you know, there is a routine when you get off the chair. There's procedures to follow, and we would add wiping down the chairs as part of the procedures which already exist. That's not a problem.
Who's going to do the cleaning, like every 2 or 4 hours, the program? I mean, are we counting on we're going to take people from 16 to 18 and expect them to clean for COVID?
So yes, so I was going to treat the cleaning whatever the hour parameters are, as an adult swim type of situation where everyone clears the pool, we close it, all hands on deck, every person working there will be cleaning. And yes, those young people can clean. I have taught them how to do that last year. They're completely capable of doing that. And not all of them are 15-year-olds. There are college students there as well.
Kate, it's Tom Bauscher. I noticed, and I'm looking at as a reference here, Lincoln Park's things here, but they had down that they will not be using benches at all until further notice. Picnic tables, no. All commonly touched surfaces cleaned throughout the day, which is, I'm assuming, is what you pretty much were kind of talking about there. Bathrooms closed to deep clean and disinfect. And that would also be lifeguards' duty then? Is that what the plan is? And they dispose of, who gets rid of the masks and gloves that go into trash cans and stuff as part of that disinfecting part? I'm just curious too, what.
And so the question is, can you repeat the question?
Well, okay, I'll start with one of them, and that's the bathrooms. How about that?
Okay.
Who cleans and disinfects them periodically throughout the day? And is there a time frame for that, or will that go from like, every 2 hours, all of a sudden now somebody says, well, I'll wait another hour? But
No. There's no waiting. It is assigned times, and when it needs to be done, or whatever the hour parameters are, the pool is closed like an adult swim. And that's what happens. That's part of the deal of opening the pool. You have to understand that it's going to look and feel different. And the members that are going to come will need to understand that. So yes, the staff will do that, and it will be disposed of as properly as we are supposed to do them. I don't know all the rules on how we're supposed to dispose of them, but I'm a quick learner.
No, I understand that part. That's fine. And the benches part too. I noticed you said you would use them to help grid it off, which is okay, but you'll have to, like, I guess, keep people from even sitting on those. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah, so we set up the benches only to use as anchors for these ropes. This is my imagination, working through, and the benches will have to be closed. And so we will caution tape them. They're not allowed to sit on them. It's going to look different.
No, I would imagine it would. How about the lineup? What's going to happen if, and I'm concerned about this, administratively, these cutoffs of numbers? I'm really concerned about that, because I got to tell you, if I was like the next person in line while they said, Tom, you got to wait while these people swim for whatever it is, 20 minutes or whatever, and then they tell everybody else to get out of the pool and start again or something. I just, is that what you were thinking would happen there?
Yes, so behind the slide, there's a grassy section which heads straight back. My vision is to have a spray painted 6 feet markers, and you wait in line like you're on Space Mountain. That's the difference it's going to be. If we get to full capacity, that's when it's at max, when all the zones are filled. And I'm not sure how much that's going to happen. I can't predict that. But yes, you would have to get back in line and ride the ride again.
No, I get that part, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just see this as a very administrative nightmare. I know everyone knows that and has heard you say we can make it happen, and so has Rob. I have great concern over myself at trying to make this all work for just a few weeks, but personnel-wise even, oh my goodness. But anyway.
I'm thinking let's just say we open July 1st. So that's 2/3 of the summer, and
I know.
two full months, and we can get that in. We can provide another outlet for people to meet. I'm not afraid to tell people that they're not following the rules. I'm not afraid to tell the guards that they're not doing it right. I want you to believe in and have confidence in my abilities.
Well, yeah, I certainly am not questioning that at all. I see it as a bigger thing than just, unfortunately, just for you. I see it has to be a shared, I'll call it administrating of all these things. And there's a huge list of things that have to be handed out. And I guess we haven't even decided, is that going to get mailed out to everyone, or do they get that before they, pay their fee or whatever? I mean, I know, Pat, you've explained or asked about some of that stuff, and I think everyone has to be made aware of some of that stuff, and will they even follow it? I don't know. Okay.
I think you also have to council will need to set clear expectation of what the policy approval chain of command is there, as to who's writing the policy, who approves it, whether the solicitor approves it, and so forth. So council will need to set that.
With these things, ultimately, let's just say there's a hassle over anything. What happens then? I mean, do we, beside you being pretty strict with it, Kate, and you're able to tell somebody to whatever, I don't know, stop getting close to that guy or something, do we end up calling like the police or something to say they got to come down then and enforce some of this, or what happens with that? I don't even know myself.
I could probably answer that for you. No different than what we've always done in the past. If there is somebody misbehaving at the pool, we do not enforce those regulations. However, if the pool management says that they've warned, Johnny Jones 3 times and now he's booted out of the pool, they communicate to him that he is not welcome there for the rest of the day and he needs to leave. And if he does not leave, they can call us and then we ask him to leave also. And then he's subject to, any charges if there would be. But most people comply and they leave.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just checking, just asking.
Yeah, we don't enforce the pool rules, but if they want somebody out of there and they refuse to leave, that's when we'll be called.
Okay.
And I know that Lincoln Park is doing you get a nice friendly warning first time, second time you get a little more stern of a warning, and the third time you have a member of the board call you and say, if you cannot comply with these rules, you're not welcome back.
Yeah, and I would just wonder how different it is for a private pool versus our public pool. That would be a concern too of mine, but okay.
And I'm not sure anybody really knows that since we've not gone down this road before.
No, I know, but I thank you for your comments.
Sure.
Can I say 2 words as a parent too? It's Adrian Jadick.
Excuse me, Kate.
Can I say 2 words as a parent too?
Mr. Jadick, I'm talking, please.
Yes, sir. Oh, I did not know.
Kate,
Sorry.
You know, like all of council, we have all been wrestling with this, you know, for a few weeks now. And of course, we all want to see this pool open. We know the people, you know, the citizens of this borough need a place to go. I know that. I get it. But let me ask you, with all the other public pools closing around us or are closed, why do we think we can pull this off when obviously they can't?
Well, hey, Bill, you didn't ask me that question, but I'll also tell you that those other public pools didn't try.
Fair answer, Steve.
Yeah, I know that, I'm guessing you're meaning borough-run or municipal-run pools versus private?
Yes.
Okay, I'm guessing that if Lincoln Park isn't a pool that you want to sue, the Borough of Wyomissing has more to offer. No?
Well, no, what I was referring to is like the city of Reading, West Reading, Shellington, you know, the
Right.
municipal pools, they're all closed. Why do we think we can pull this off in our municipality when they can't?
I'm not sure why they made that decision. Does anyone here know why those other municipal pools do not choose to open? I know Schlegel Park is working on renovations.
No, I don't.
That's one area I did not research, but I can find that answer for you. I can ask around.
Jody, I think the Hills private pool is opening, right?
They are, yeah. I've talked to some people over there, and they have, you know, some very strict guidelines also in place that, you know, are up on their website. Anybody can take a look at. But yeah, they are planning to, and you know, certainly that's an option for people who live over here. Actually, I think there is no residency requirement. They are going to cap their numbers, but they're taking membership applications too.
And they're going to cap, which is that a choice for us? Is even that an option?
Probably not.
Right. I mean, that was going to be one of my questions too, is, you know, in the event we do get more people coming than we feel like we can handle in those zones and things, do we have some sort of plan for how we would fairly limit who can be admitted on any particular day or time?
My idea was that the area is big enough so you can spread out. And then in the active zones within the pool is where I was concentrating my efforts on the numbers. You know, I would tell, I'm sorry you have to move more than 6 feet. You're not 6 feet apart. Please move your chairs. But we have the land to have anybody come in there and sit. My concern was what happens in those active zones within the pool.
Okay, but there is enough land, even if, I mean, there's not a lot of other options for places for people to go. Even if we get greater attendance than we're expecting on a usual summer, you still feel confident that there's enough space in the grassy areas to socially distance.
Yes, so much of the land is never utilized on the busiest day in July.
Right, and most people will fight for the shady spots versus the sunny spots. I would prefer that we look at, if this happens, a timed, like a golf tee time reservation system. We have the software in place. I think trying to open on a 85, 90 degree day and, you know, first come, first serve is going to annoy some of the residents who have been lifelong members and maybe have to wait in line to get in the pool. It's just my thought about making it fair and equitable to all the residents that we do a reservation kind of system.
What happens to things like adult swims, and even I have a concern about the pool is at different depth. You know, it's 5 feet or a little more than that at one end, and down to 3 feet at the other. So you got some kids that can't be in 5 foot, but they can be in 3 foot or something. And then we have the little waiting section there off to the side. Does that all get attended to or whatever administered differently then?
That's,
We would-
oh.
Go ahead, Kate.
On a regular summer, like the previous summer, the kids go where they can swim.
No, I know, yeah.
We can't, if they can't swim in that zone, they shouldn't be in that zone. Another part of my plan was if you're under 6, you need to have your parent with you. That's the bottom line too. That's another rule. The kindergartner will not stand in line and follow the rules as much as a first grader. So 6-year-olds and under need to be accompanied with a parent, and that will be a change for some of the patrons. But that if I feel as if the people who want to be at the pool are going to be appreciative that we're open and be willing to follow the rules. The people who are nervous about being at the pool or what will happen will not come.
I can appreciate that, but I'm sure, again, I speak for all of us when I say, if one person gets sick and spreads it around and something worse happens, I don't give a damn about liability and so forth. Tell us we're not going to feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
I move close the pool and the playgrounds for this summer.
There's a motion on the table already.
There is?
Yeah, to open it.
Steve opened it. Do we have,
Can I still say a couple of words or not?
Mr. Jadik, this is for the,
You asked for public comments just a little bit earlier.
not a public comment.
That's what you said.
I didn't say it.
I don't know. I don't know how it would hurt though.
Mrs. Fanning is an employee and she's also on the rec board.
You said public comments. I didn't say it.
I didn't say it.
Okay, was there a second to Steve's motion?
Yeah, I seconded it.
There was a
We
second.
have a
Okay,
second.
or Jody or Keith, okay.
Is there a question on the motion?
I had a couple more questions for Kate, if that's okay.
Go ahead,
Sure.
Jody.
In terms of keeping our staff safe, also, are you planning to do, like, what procedures are you going to have in place for when they show up for work? Are you going to do temperature checks? Are you going to do wellness screen? Like, how are you, things like that? Just, out of concern for.
Yes, they temperature checks, wellness checks, questions about where they've been. They will answer 4 to 8 questions. I forget exactly how many there are when you typically are asked, have you left the country? Those kinds of questions. Have you been exposed to anybody? My idea is not to have the breezeway be the point of contact where we move out, set up some tents out on when you come down the stairs from the bathhouse, set up some tents. The swim team has tents that they'd be willing to share, and have an actual space where people can spread out before to do those checks. And yes, absolutely, they must go through that, and that means they're gonna have to show up for work a little earlier, and it can be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just another question too, how confident are we that we're going to be able to obtain the cleaning and disinfecting supplies and PPE and things like that that are going to be needed to do this? I mean,
We
there are
already
things that are
have-
still short supply, I think, someplace.
Right. The pool already has the cleaning agent that is necessary. It's Pink Rob. Do you know the name of that cleaning agent that we put in the spray bottles?
Yeah,
It's just
Rejuvenol.
Juvenile. I'm not sure how the borough will supply us with the PPE that is necessary. I have a contact who has changed his business to make shields, so I can certainly reach out to him and ask for 40 to 50 shields to be donated or maybe purchased. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm also looking into that for my school building for the fall. I didn't know if I needed to look for the PPE or whether that was a borough
Yeah,
Rob
that would,
Schaub or?
that would be me. We'd have to find the hand sanitizer stations, which are the touchless ones, and they'd have to be posted at various locations around the pool.
Finally, before we do, swim team and the snack bar, what about them?
Oh, I'm also a member of the Berks County Swimming Association. I'm a board member. The Berks County Swimming Association has canceled the swim season this summer. There will be no meets. I have talked with our current swim coach, Scott Williams, and he is involved in a different clinic outside of Wyomissing. And I'd say 30, 50, maybe 50% of our swimmers on the Wyomissing Wahoo team are participating in a different clinic out that is not going to be at Wyomissing Pool. I think swim lessons are off the board. No moonlight swims, no concerts at the pool. Keeping it very simple.
As far as the snack bar goes, it's recommended that any people who visit the pool bring their own beverages, non-alcoholic, obviously, and any food or snacks are specifically their own, and we will not supply any of that to them.
Okay. And the snack bar area could be used as a point of exit, either that way or over by where the pump room is. There's two ways to exit the pool grounds.
All right. Jody, did I cut you off, Jody? There.
No, that's okay. I was just looking at the guidelines. There, even in the green phase, it says no food is allowed at all. Only sports drinks and water if they're brought by the individual.
Right. Correct.
So okay.
That's the way it goes. Yep.
The other question I had, maybe this is, I don't know if this is jumping the gun, but I know that we do monitor, Pat, you can, this is maybe a question to you. We do monitor how many cases of COVID-19 there are in the area, in the borough in particular. In the event that we start to see those, if we do decide to open the pool and we see those numbers trending up, it's our prerogative, right, to shut it down anytime we feel that there's a significant risk of safety to our community.
Jody, my motion was as long as it's in green.
Right, but aside from the colors, if we start to see our local community trending up in Wyomissing, if there appears to be a situation, it may not be like the entire county, and it may not be that we're moving a color. It's not necessarily, a governor's decision, but something that we see as a trend.
I would assume the borough's right to close the pool whenever they want to.
Yeah, I agree with that. The borough has control of that facility, and if you are not in violation of some other regulation from another level of government, you can shut it down in your discretion.
Where do we get those numbers, Ms. Menon? Would you know? Where do those numbers come from?
I don't know. I know that the state keeps track of what's going on in our county and also by zip code and things like that. And okay. That would be, obviously that would not be something we want to do, is open it up and then we see the numbers go up and then we have to shut it down. But that is a concern. It's hard to know where we're going to be come August. And, it's a lot of work to go through all of this, certainly,
It is. I'm going to refer back to Dr. Barbera's letter that he wrote to the rec board and to that was shared here today. I feel it's important for our community.
Okay, is that everything? Great. I think we'll take a roll call vote on this, please, Melissa.
Okay. Great. Councilmember Boucher.
Hold it. Could you repeat the motion?
You want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead, just to clarify.
All right, so the rec board is recommending to the borough council to open the pool, and I will also make a motion to open the pool under the following circumstances: that the borough of Wyomissing is placed in a green zone as determined by the governor in the state of Pennsylvania. 2, that the pool can operate under the state and CDC guidelines. 3, all those who enter the pool must sign a solicitor-approved COVID-19 waiver or have a previously signed COVID-19 waiver on file. Excuse me. And 4, the pool can be adequately staffed, and obviously that the pool can be open physically. And I made that motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. You all right with that, John?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Roll call vote, please, Melissa.
Okay, Councilmember Bowsher,
Yeah, but I'm going to just preface this with great consternation and a great, I don't know what to say. It can only be one way or the other, and I'm voting no.
Councilmember Woodward,
No.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
I'm going to recite, reiterate what Tom Boucher said. I want this open so bad for the staff or for the citizens of Wyomissing. I don't see how we can possibly do it and do it right 100 times, because this isn't something that you can say, oh, well, we messed up. No, oh, well, we messed up could have devastating results. Having said that, and I reluctantly have to vote no.
Councilmember Menon,
I'm going to vote yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
Council President Mull.
No.
Okay, what do we do next? Move on?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, then the,
What was the vote, Tally? I didn't catch it.
4-3.
okay. The next thing that the rec board discussed was the playgrounds, and the rec board did vote to make a recommendation to council to open the playground, but the vote was not in favor to move it forward. So that being said, the rec board has voted to, is basically saying that they do not want the playgrounds to be open. It's obviously a situation where, unlike the pool where there's a fence and you can monitor some things internally, the playground is sort of a indefinable type of area. So my recommendation will be, and following the guidance of the rec board, but my recommendation would be not to open the playgrounds for the 2020 season. And I will make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Ayes have it.
Okay, then the next motion was based on the tennis program, and the rec board has made a motion to recommend council to open the 2020 tennis program based on CDC guidance, sufficient staff availabilities, and insurance regulations. So the rec board is recommending that they open the tennis program. And that was an 8-1 vote. There was one dissension, and I will go ahead and make that motion also.
We have a second.
Yeah, I'll second it. Just, I would just say I saw there were some, with some comments quick, I saw where they wanted to like remove like the middle nets or something. What was that about, Rob?
Yeah, Tom, this is actually about the actual program where they get lessons. We're going to get to that part too. But yeah, to answer your question is they want to remove the middle net on each side so there's more spacing. I'll bring that up in a second.
Okay, well, I would say yes if they do that kind of thing. So
this is for the tennis program. Rob, can you discuss the tennis program so everybody's on board with what?
Yeah, so this is where we invite all the young kids down to learn how to play tennis. We have various age groups at different times of the day. Jeremy Gibney's been our longtime instructor for this. There's a lot of guidance or guidelines as far as this being an organized activity where children are only permitted to bring their own equipment. we in the past have supplied all the tennis balls for the lessons. It's recommended not to do that. So we'd have to make either the program very small or make it extended hours, different times.
Oh, boy. So, okay. Well, I see it there. I don't know. So you think we can pull that one off? I mean, I don't know how many people usually sign up, to be honest. I see kids down there, but I don't know what it is.
It varies every year. It depends on the age groups. It would be a borough sponsored thing where they're paying for us to take care of their kids and teach them tennis.
What's the age? What's the youngest age there?
5 to 6 year olds.
Do they have to do this with a mask on?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if that is recommended at that time. But again, social distancing would be in effect, and all the other guidelines.
Well, what about disinfecting of the tennis balls?
Great question. That would have to be done as well. We'd also have to supply the hand sanitizer stations, for the group when they first come in and then when they leave.
So if we do this with the CDC guidance, that covers those things you just talked about?
It speaks to those, yeah. We'd have to have proper signage made up, and again, we'd have to have waivers and policies in place for this as well, because this would be our borough-run program.
Okay. All right, that's my question. But
Yeah, I have a question. Kate was very clear and specific about all the, plans and procedures that she would have in place. Do we have any kind of guidance from the tennis director about that?
No,
very well thought through.
Yeah, not at this time, Jody. We'd have to work on that. And again, this program is scheduled to kick off next Monday. It usually starts the same Monday as Playground does.
And would we be planning to start even in the yellow phase? Are we planning, this is something to start?
No, it would have to be in the green phase because it would be considered an organized sport.
If you're going to close the pool, you're going to close everything else. Why have one program?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it makes sense to do this, and it doesn't make sense to do some of the other stuff. So,
no.
Why don't you just call it a year?
I think we could open the courts once we get to green. We could open the courts for public play, sign it, and take down those nets, which would allow the public to use the facility, but it just wouldn't be under the borough sponsorship, which would basically put it in a different category.
Yeah, I was just looking at the guy. I think you can open the courts under yellow.
Right.
Yes.
You can open the courts now, just not have organized activity.
That's going to be the next motion.
Okay.
That's coming second to next.
Second to next.
Call for the motion there, Tom.
Okay. We have a motion on the tennis.
I made a motion on behalf of the rec board, yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I think I seconded it, but to start with, yes.
Yes,
okay. Well,
now, is this the tennis program, the borough tennis program?
Correct.
Tennis program for the children. And do we have, let's do a roll call on that one, Police Melissa.
That's to keep it closed. I just want to make sure. Yes is to have the program. No is not to have the program.
Yes is to have the program. No is to.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Bowsher?
No.
Councilmember Woodward?
No.
Councilmember Brunner?
The committee I'm on that I represent had said yes, and they represent a significant portion of the borough, so I will say yes.
Councilmember Jenks?
Reluctantly, no.
Councilmember Menon?
No.
Councilmember Durr?
No.
And Council President Mull?
No. And it's
the vote was
6-1.
Thank you. Okay, Moving on, there was a recommendation to council to open the baseball/softball and soccer facilities for use once the Berks County reaches the green phase of the Governor Wolf's reopening plan. Based on the CDC guidance, sufficient staffing, availabilities, insurance regulations, and teams utilizing the facilities would be responsible for submitting signed waiver forms to the borough from the team participants. That was unanimously forwarded to Borough Council, and I will also make that motion.
Do we have a second on that, please?
So to be clear, this would not be a Borough Council, this would not be a borough sanctioned event. This would be someone who's using borough fields, but under their own auspices.
All right, I'll second it to get it on the table there.
Okay.
Council members, if I could just ask you to amend your motion to basically say, and to add to this, is they're required to submit a plan to the borough, basically saying they're safely operating within the CDC.
That's fair.
I'll agree to that.
That's Steve's motion, yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Like that.
Let's do a roll call on that one as well.
Okay, Councilmember Boucher,
Yes for that.
Councilmember Woodward,
No.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
and Council President Mull.
And we have 6-1 on that.
Okay. Moving on. The next one, Tom, is to discuss the actual opening of the tennis courts.
Okay.
So there was a motion to recommend to council to reopen the Stonehouse tennis courts based on CDC and NRPA guidance, insurance regulations, along with the fact that we would remove the 2 center nets on each side of the courts, if you will, giving us a total of 4. That was unanimously passed by the rec board, and I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call, please.
Council,
Now, just so I clarify, this is to open it up to the, now, like if I was to get down there this afternoon and knock a tennis ball around or something, that's that kind of thing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
With the 2 courts nets in the middle being taken down.
Correct. Okay. All right.
Excuse me, will there be signs and things to remind people to socially distance and things like that?
Yes, Jody, I found
part of the regulation.
the U.S. Tennis Association has already put out a brochure flyer sign that we can print up and put down there at the courts.
And that is part of the CDC guidance, Jody.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Councilmember Boucher,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodward,
Yes.
Councilmember Brunner,
Yes.
Councilmember Jenks,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Durr,
Yes.
Council President Mull.
Yes. 7-0, motion carries.
Okay. We had discussion about some people were using the red phase. In the red phase, they were doing some pickleballing up in the Wyomissing Hills. We had some complaints about that dealt with properly. Other than that, that's all we have for the rec board at this point.
Okay. All those in favor of the Recreation Board report, please signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Okay. Borough Manager's report.
Just before I get started on my report, just for Chris, do we need to also have a motion now that basically the pool and the playgrounds and summer programs are canceled for this summer?
Well, if there's any remaining programs after what we've already specifically addressed today, we should have a motion to that effect to address those additional programs if there are any.
Pat, give me some examples of what you're talking about, Pat.
Like the Stonehouse rentals, pavilion rentals, things like that. I would prefer not to have our borough facilities rented out right now.
Right now, under yellow, green, or anytime?
Well, in other words, someone using the Stonehouse under any condition, how are we going to clean that? Are they going to be required to clean it? How do we monitor that cleaning? That's my concern. I mean, we can certainly work on getting some guidelines on how that would be done and bring it back to council in July.
I think maybe that's a good idea. Let's talk about that in July and see if we move into the green, where things may loosen up a little bit with, that's tight quarters inside that building for social.
Okay, I'll work with Rob and we'll actually prepare guidelines for that and for those facilities.
Okay, that works.
Would we consider, well, we could talk about it later. Let's say we could consider putting up a tent down there so that people who wanted to use it may be able to use something outside.
Possibility, Steve.
That's not the realm of comprehension.
Got to do something.
Okay, Pat.
And I think the pavilions can basically be used. It's just we wouldn't rent them. People could use them. On the manager's report, the Joint Municipal Authority meeting minutes are there. The Western Works Water Authority meeting minutes are there. Jim has some surplus equipment to ask permission to put on this bid. I would ask the council authorize us to list surplus borough equipment such as dump trucks, generators, miscellaneous tools, and a riding lawnmower to be placed on municipal bid.
Somebody willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, okay.
We have a motion. Who seconded that?
Well, make me the second then. Tom.
All right. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 That's not.
Everybody all right?
One of it.
That should be followed by the finance report.
Yeah, really. The deed of dedication between the borough and Dr. Abasef has been executed for the portion of the right-of-way the borough needed from his property, 4th Street, requesting a motion for council to approve and ratify the execution of the deed and to adopt resolution number 2020-14.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Okay, and this is a resolution of the council of the borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, accepting the deed of dedication of P. Perez Property Management LLC of a portion of that certain real estate located at the southeast corner of 4th Street and North Wyomissing Boulevard for use as a public road right of way and particularly bounded as described in said deed of dedication. Okay, all those in favor of accepting this resolution number 2020-14, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got it.
The VIST Borough's General Obligation Note documents have been signed by the borough and are continuing through the closing process. Chris, I don't know if you have anything further to add on that.
All the documentation that was required to be executed to put that borrowing facility into place has been completed. So at this time, the funds are available for the borough to borrow if you choose to use that money.
Okay. The rest of these are kind of standard. Borough Hall continues to be closed to the public, and the staff is continuing to work on dealing with the public. We also now have added appointments. A person can make an appointment with a staff member, go through screening, and then come in and have a meeting as long as social distancing is required. We're still following the COVID-19 state and CDC prevention protocols for our facilities and the police and fire departments. The fire and police, public works are working within their respective work and response plans. The new plan will be going out today to deal with the yellow and green phases. Basically, Borough Hall will continue to remain closed to the public with the visitor option. The borough website is continuously updated, and the latest borough information as well as the resources are related to the pandemic. The park playground amenities, such as the playground equipment, are basically still roped off and closed. We will take a look at that during the reopening guidelines in the green phase. There's a possibility of possibly placing signage there, but we'll see where that works out. The temporary social distancing signs are still at the trail entrances and at the parks. And we are still operating under the borough's declaration of a local disaster. So that's all I have, Tom.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of accepting the borough manager's report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please have it. The next item on the agenda is the financial, Borough of Wyomissing financial summary. This is for the general fund, the Bureau of Water, the sewer fund, the highway aid, refuse and recycling fund, and the road tax fund. Greg, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I just want to throw some things out, and believe me, it won't take a lot of time. we spent a lot of time. If you look at, listen, okay, the fifth, sixth, and seventh columns here. So the fourth, May year-to-date revenue, May year-to-date expenses, and then the net, right in the center there, those three. If you look at the bottom there, through May, that's 5/12 of the year, and you got 8,000,007 for revenue, 7 million, just under 7,000,001 for expenses, and you got $1.6 million surplus. However, as I mentioned, this is 5/12. You got a lot of property taxes that were paid in, not too much remaining. So a lot of your revenue has been recognized already. As Steve pointed out in his report, he mentioned there was a $695,000 unfavorable variance in some of the local taxes, mercantile tax, local services tax, real estate thrift, earned income taxes. Melissa, page 4 of 18. Real quick, 2, 3, there we go. All right, so if you look at down the left-hand side, real estate transfer taxes, and then the next 4 or 5 line items, those variances, if you look at those things, that's that 695,000 that Steve was talking about earlier. And the jury's out on that yet. We don't know what's going to happen with those. The real estate taxes, basically we're $166,000 off on those. And that's the first 4 line items on that same page. The real estate current down through the penalties and interest and discounts. So those items, plus, you might want to wonder about this, on page 14 of 18, remember we combined the road tax. We don't have a separate road tax anymore. We combined that, we threw that in with all the general tax and general services. So you're going to see a $374,000 variance there on that page. And basically all that added together gives you the $166,000. So basically, if you look at the front page of this report, it looks good. We have a surplus, but the devil's in the details, and we got a long way to go with this, with a lot of unknowns. So we'll just have to look at this monthly, and keep you folks informed as we go.
That being said, let's not forget that we do have a significant offset on budgetary items we removed.
Right.
So it's not
and
always.
Some of this might turn out. Some of this may be better than we thought.
It's not always the sky's going to turn upside down, Greg.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
I know you're
is,
not. I know you're not.
We don't know. There are some unknowns, and it just might end up being a lot better than we thought. So hopefully that's the way it goes.
Thank you, Greg.
Yep.
All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's statement of operation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's have it. Next, we have the accounts payable of the general fund, the Bureau of Water, the sewer fund, the refuse and recycling funds, and this is our new and expanded version. Is there any question on any of the bills that we paid last month?
I have a couple, I know, but Steve doesn't want me to kill any more trees, I know, but
we're not going to kill any more trees. We'll send it to you electronically. I don't care if it's 100 pages.
I'm only going to get it electronic. I think this is much better. It's much easier to follow, and if you have a question, I think you can pick them out easier there. Pat already, I asked him about the one there, that Green Drive one.
I have an answer for you, Tom.
Oh, you do?
That is the sewage dumping transfer. It comes from Wyomissing into the Spring Township system.
Okay, all right, that was one. I saw, and I just wanted to ask about Conley's bill for cutting grass. Is that a 1 month bill? Is that paid monthly? How is that? Or is that do you know offhand? Because I saw it's like 7,000, about 7,000.
No, that's for multiple.
Yeah, that's a
Rob,
monthly
is that right?
bill. They bill us for all the locations once a month.
Okay. Can we cut a lot more grass with some part-timers for 7,000 or not?
They cut a lot of grass, all the islands, all the playgrounds.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Tom, when the industrial mowers are up as expensive as they would, as you can see, we spent the last time, over $12,000-14,000 for a mower for industrial. So.
Okay. How about that Tactic 50 for like, I don't know, 2 sets of uniforms or something? Is that with the police with, it's 46012. Is Jeff still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm trying to see it on the.
Is
on
that
the screen.
that stuff that the B cert, the guys on B cert get or what?
That's outfitting the 2 new guys.
Oh, okay. All
A
right.
lot of that is. Yep.
All right, that's a little different. Okay, when it said duty gear, I wasn't sure when it said Tactic 50. I didn't know if that was a special.
That's the name of the store.
Oh, no, that's the name of the store, Tactical Wear.
Okay, all right, that's good. And the only other one I had was, I guess I'll aim it more toward Michelle, and that was Kraft 78,000 for inspections.
Well, that's not just for inspections, that's permit fee revenue. So there was a $60,000 permit fee alone for one permit that came in May.
Okay, all right, that explains it. Just checking. All right, that was all I had.
Okay, all those accept the accounts payable report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next is the tax collector's report. Any questions on that one? All those in favor of accepting that and one is written, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the next item on business is resolution number 20-13, and this is a resolution of the county of the Borough Council of Wyomissing County, Pennsylvania, in recognition of the life and contributions of Geraldine Kozloff. Jerry was a council person for us and also the first woman council president, who gave a lot to the community, and we felt it was within our best interest to acknowledge her service to the community and to let her husband Dave know how much she was appreciated and how much she's being missed. And I'd like to have somebody put that on the table, please.
So moved.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Please have it. Thank you very much. The next item of business is a ordinance number 1414-2020. This is an ordinance of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, vacating a portion of Oley Street and portions of an unnamed alley located between Oley Street and Greenwood Street to the east of Park Road as particularly surveyed and described hereon. And public law requires that we have a public hearing on this before it's acted. So Chris, I will hand this over to you.
All right, thank you, Tom. The background for this ordinance is that in the planning for the improvements to 4th Street, it came to our attention that there were some unopened portions of Oley Street and some nearby alleys in the neighborhood that had been laid out when the borough was laid out, but had never been opened. And this ordinance is effectively a cleanup type of ordinance to remove the unopened alleys from the borough map. So the one area that is affected is a portion of Oley Street east of North 4th Street, and that is adjacent to the borough's maintenance property. The second one is an unnamed alley that runs east-west between Oley Street and East Greenwich Street. And that is, it's parallel to and between Oley Street and East Greenwich Street, but it actually would end on the west side at Park Road and on the east side at North 4th Street. And again, that's an unopened, unnamed alley that is proposed to be vacated by this ordinance. And the third area that is included in the ordinance is a portion of the unnamed alley on the other side of North 4th Street, again, parallel to and between Oley Street and East Greenwich Street, but not the entire length of that alley, just the easternmost 130 feet, because there is a portion of that alley immediately adjacent to the east side of North 4th Street that is in use. Not publicly used, but it is an alley that's used by neighbors to that unnamed alley. So the proposed ordinance would vacate those three areas that I've just described. And at this time, it would be appropriate to ask if there's anyone in attendance at this meeting who wishes to provide any public comment or testimony on the ordinance that's been advertised for consideration of enactment by the council. I know there were a couple of people patiently waiting online, and if they wish at this time, they should provide any comments they may have about the proposed ordinance.
I just have a quick question. This is like, I don't know if this is some semantics here or what. East Greenwich Street, was it always East Greenwich? Tom Mull, you would know better.
I always knew it as Greenwich Street, never East Greenwich Street.
No, I know. Is that the official name, Chris? Just out of curiosity?
I can't honestly answer that. It's referred to as East Greenwich in the ordinance, but I don't know where that verbiage came from.
All right, just checking. I didn't.
The police department's never had an East Greenwich Street, and I don't think it's listed that way with Berks County Radio either.
Yeah.
It's not on the tax maps either. I believe that's a typo. Because if you look at the top paragraph, it just calls it Greenwich Street.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a.
Well, why don't, I'm going to make an editorial correction to the ordinance to remove the reference to East Greenwich Street and just make it Greenwich Street. All right. Any other comments or questions or testimony or anything? If there are no comments or testimony, we can close the public hearing. And at this time, it would be appropriate for council to consider a motion to enact ordinance number 1414-2020 with the editorial correction to remove the word east. I believe it appears at least 2 times before Greenwich Street.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting ordinance 1414-2020, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right, thank you. And Tom, I just want to remind you, we have another resolution 2020-15.
Yes. If you can put that one back up on the screen, please, Melissa. And the one before in front of you now is resolution number 2020-15, a resolution of the County of the Borough of Wyomissing, Berks County, Pennsylvania, establishing a policy permitting process for the creation of outdoor seating areas in restaurants and retail food stores during the yellow phase of COVID-19 emergency. Is somebody willing to put that on the table, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. And that's it. Do we have any other business to bring before council today?
Hi, it's Jody.
Okay.
I just wanted to make everyone aware, if they weren't already, that the library is making plans to reopen. They plan to have grab and go service starting June 22nd. And Colleen at the library is working on a plan for further reopening activities.
Cool.
Great.
Good news.
Yeah.
If there is no other business to be brought before council this afternoon, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you. It's been a long meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.